So I am testing this Staub, if you've seen that word before, Staub Cocotte, which is, I'm sorry about the shadows there, is just basically another word for a very close-fitting lid on a Dutch oven type of pot. I have normally bought LeCreuset. I also have an inexpensive one from China that I don't know where I picked up, and it is not good. This is Enameled cast iron, and the first thing that I notice about the Staub, which I understand is its superiority over LeCreuset, is that it has this dark interior and it has a much better ability to brown. And so what I have here, which may look like some foreign objects, are actually the skin and fat cut away from a non-salt cured but smoked ham shank from a local farm in Michigan. Absolutely wonderful kind of foraging pork on its own. And you see one thing about the Staub, they are not shy about putting their name on things. But I had this on very low heat, and then lowest of low. And so then I turned it up a notch to see what would happen when it's, began to stick. Now I will say I have rigid plastic or nylon, well it's nylon, because things that will bend are not going to help you in this kind of a case. But I was able, even though it did stick a little, and that's, the sugars. That's what we're after when we're browning or caramelizing, is for the sugars to come to the fore. But they scraped very, very easily and very well. And so that is extremely impressive, I will say. That is number one. Something else I'm going to show you is I like tops that have a flat knob, because I like to turn that top over flat and then put things on it as I cook. But look, and please ignore what is going on in the background. If you hear the kitchen manager, who is a small 50-pound dog, barking, it's because something is happening. But notice these little things here. These are, depending on who you talk to, they're called different things. But because this is a very, very heavy, close-fitting lid, when your cooking is happening, the moisture from the food and the moisture that's created inside of the Dutch oven, cocotte, whatever you're calling it, it drips back down from these little thingies. So that is something. So what I'm going to do next is we'll give the browning a real test by removing this stuff. And I'm going to brown the actual shank, which is this wonder and glory. We're going to turn the heat up. And one thing about your cast iron, no matter where it comes from, it is going to hold heat very, very well. So it's already holding on even to the heat that I turned it up to. But I'm going to kick the heat up a little bit, and we'll come back and see how well it browned. Okay, so I did turn the heat up a little bit. First of all, look at all of the fat I rendered off of this very shank right here. So I turn the heat up and you see there's little sticky bits, but they come up very, very easily. So I brown this for as much as I'm going to do for the dish that I'm working with. But the real test now will be what happens when I give it the onions. So this browned a little bit here. You can see it did okay. It is really browned, and so we are pretty happy with that. So here's the test. It's the onions. I'm going to give it a little more fat, just a tad. And here's what we'll do. We'll get them in there. And let's see what happens. Our first initial stirring around, these sticky bits are very easy to get up. And so I'm going to say that although, you know, there is not much of a price difference between the Staub and LeCreuset, although I have many colors because I wait until these things are on sale as opposed to trying to coordinate in my kitchen. But rather than going with a cheaper version made in China, although I will say if you're gonna go with Enameled and you want Enameled, but you do not want to pay, you know, this is I think 5.5 quart, and I think it's roughly $2.40 or something like that. These things last forever. I mean, you pass them down. But another alternative actually is actual black regular cast iron. Dutch oven like this is maybe 50 or 60 bucks. I'm going to have them on my website and a link to purchase them. Look, that's sauteing pretty well. I think I'm going to turn the heat down. I'm going to caramelize these, and so I'll turn the heat way down, give it a little more of the fat. We'll come back to it when it's nice and browned and see if our Staub will do it. So here are the onions that have been slowly browning in the Staub cocotte, and where they're going to end up is in this inexpensive, made in China enameled cast iron. You can see what's happened on the inside already, and I haven't had it very long, but you see chipping. There's chipped in some other places, but at the end of the day it is still cast iron. And so the ham shank that was browned is going to make a bean soup out of these excellent beans.